My paranormal experience, the haunting of room 214. It was the kind of job offer you don't refuse. A promotion, a significant pay raise, and a relocation package to a beautiful, historic city. The only catch? I'd be staying in a hotel for a few weeks, until I found a permanent place. No big deal, I thought. I've always liked the charm of old hotels. We'll call the place I stayed the Hotel Valiant, a grand building from the early 1900s, with a lobby that spoke of opulence and a history that whispered secrets. I checked in late one evening, exhausted from my flight, and the desk clerk handed me the key to room 214. The room was quaint, with antique furnishings and a large, ornate mirror above the dresser. It had a comfortable feel to it, though the air seemed a bit colder than the rest of the hotel. I shrugged it off, chalking it up to old building quirks, and settled in for the night. The first incident happened around midnight. I was drifting off to sleep when I heard a faint sound, like soft crying. It was so subtle that I thought I imagined it, but it continued, growing slightly louder. I got out of bed and checked the hallway. It was empty and silent. I closed the door, puzzled, and went back to bed. The crying stopped. The next day at work was busy, filled with meetings and introductions. I barely had time to think about the strange noise from the night before. By the time I got back to the hotel, I was too tired to care. I fell into bed and was soon asleep. Around 2 a.m., I woke with a start. The room was frigid and the crying was back, louder this time. It was coming from the corner of the room. I turned on the bedside lamp, my heart pounding. The crying stopped abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence. I scanned the room, my eyes landing on the mirror. For a brief moment, I thought I saw a shadow move across its surface. I blinked, and it was gone. I tried to go back to sleep, but the sense of being watched kept me awake. The next morning, bleary-eyed and anxious, I mentioned the strange occurrences to the front desk clerk. She paled slightly but maintained her composure. "Room 214, you say? That's one of our oldest rooms. Guests occasionally report unusual activity, but it's just the old building settling, I'm sure." Her forced smile did little to reassure me. The following night, I resolved to stay awake and see if anything happened. I set up my phone to record video, aimed at the mirror, and lay in bed, reading. Around midnight, the temperature dropped again. The crying started, soft and heart-wrenching. I stayed still, watching the mirror through my phone's screen. Then, something moved. A shadowy figure appeared in the mirror, indistinct, but definitely there. It seemed to be a woman, her face obscured. She reached out towards me, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I sat up, staring directly at the mirror now. The figure didn't disappear. Instead, it turned and seemed to walk away, fading into the darkness. The crying stopped, but the cold remained. I grabbed my phone and reviewed the recording. There it was, the shadowy figure, clear as day, reaching out from the mirror. I couldn't stay in that room another night. I packed my things and went down to the front desk. The night clerk looked surprised, but not entirely shocked when I demanded a different room. "I'll put you in 312, he said, avoiding eye contact. "We understand." I spent the rest of the night in room 312, where I finally managed to get some sleep. The next day, I did some digging. I found an old news article about a woman who had died in the hotel in the 1930s. Her name was Helen, and she had taken her own life in room 214 after her fiancé left her. Guests and staff had reported strange happenings in that room ever since. I moved out of the Hotel Valiant as soon as I could, found a nice apartment not too far from work. I've tried to put the experience behind me, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear that soft crying in my dreams. I hope Helen finds peace someday, but I'm never staying in room 214 or the Hotel Valiant ever again.